All right, it's Monday. Monday at 11 o'clock. And you know what that means, folks. It's the Chazz Palminteri Show. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on Google. It's on Apple. You can listen to it while you're driving. Please, if you're watching, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. I love for you to hit that subscribe button because it helps me and it helps you. And I get a lot of great guests here. Yes. And don't forget, ChazzPalminteri.net. If you want to see my one-man show, the show that started it all, ChazzPalminteri.net. I'm going to be in Arkansas, me and Sandy Blue Eyes. Oh, my God. Sandy Blue Eyes in Arkansas. That's Little Rock, Arkansas, University of Arkansas. That is on March 1st. March 3rd, I am in San Antonio, Texas, at the Empire Theater. San Antonio, Texas, March 3rd. And April, I am going to be in Atlantic City at the Ocean Casino in Atlantic City. Great place. At the Ovation Hall. April 3rd in Englewood, New Jersey at the Bergen Pack Theater. Bergen Pack in Englewood, New Jersey. And June 1st, in June. No, I don't have the date.
June 4th.
June 4th. I'm at the Richfield Playhouse in Richfield, Connecticut. Don't forget, ChazzPalminteri.net. You can get all my merchandise there. Now you can't leave T-shirts. Saddest thing in life is wasted talent. So many things. I married one of the great ones. She passed the door test. A lot of great stuff. And also, you can, if you want to talk to me, get on the site. You can do it. You can work it out. You know, if you want to talk to me personally about something going on, your life, some kind of advice in the business, you can talk to me personally. Okay, so my guest today, here she is.
She is.
She's actually my co-host with Catherine Narducci when we do the show Neighborhood Logic R-Rated. And but she's here alone now. We're not doing the R-Rated show. We're just going to talk to her, Tara.
First of all, Sandy Blue Eyes in Arkansas. That's like my cousin Vinny.
Yes.
Like I just picture like, oh yeah, you blend. Like that's what I was going to say when Chazz was saying it.
Blend.
Oh yeah, you blend. Like I just can picture him like.
And you know what's funny about him?
Dressed to the nines and
right.
like, yeah.
And you know what's funny about him? You know, he doesn't change.
No.
He will wear the gold chain. Oh my God. I don't know what's going to happen.
I should come to that trip just to get comedy. I'll just be able to write new jokes on Italian men by seeing Sandy Blue Eyes in Arkansas.
Sandy Blue Eyes in Arkansas. I mean, Texas is not too bad. That's a little more, I don't know, San Antonio, Texas. It might.
Yeah, no.
You know what it is when I'm with him and we go into like a diner or something, and he walks in and people look like, what is this?
Right. It's so New York. It's a different era in New York. It's like
we sat down.
It's New York.
He goes, he tells the guy, "Oh, listen to this. I never told this story. We were in the South somewhere. I forgot where we were. South. I think we were in Delaware.
Which for somebody like that is the South.
It's the South. And we went to a diner, and I said, he said, yeah, I want a chicken fried steak. And the guy said, okay. And I said, man, chicken fried steak, well, So the guy brings the thing. Sandy looks at it. He cuts it. He goes, sir, this is steak. The guy said, yeah. He said, I want a chicken fried steak. He said, and I'm looking, I go, what the fuck? I go, Sandy, chicken fried steak is steak. He goes, well, why do they call it chicken? So he says to the guy, now he's getting into a beef with the guy.
No pun intended.
They've been calling it a chicken fried steak since time began. I'm surprised. I think I was in the men's room. I didn't hear him. But
that's like what's a grit in my cousin Vinny.
What's a grit, right?
What's a grit?
He ordered chicken fried steak. He wanted chicken.
Oh, that's brilliant. Anyway. Yeah.
So talking about Italian men. Mm-hmm. You're married.
I am married.
To an Italian man.
Which is
Which is amazing.
Amazing, right? Because
you never thought that you married an Italian
No, we
man.
talked about how because the guys like Sandy that they ask you questions and answer them themselves. That was my stereotypical. I grew up. See, the reason why I love that is because I grew up on that. I grew up in the Bronx. Very proud of that. I grew up in that whole Italian Bronx thing where I was like, I've evolved from some of these things, right? I'm not saying I'm better, but that was no longer my
Right.
speed.
Yes.
That
Right.
wasn't my dating speed. It wasn't even my friend speed. You know, I kind of was into doing different things, and so I never thought I'd end up marrying.
A guy. Well, is he from the Bronx too?
Originally, he was. So he at 8 years old, he moved to Westchester, which I needed that.
You needed.
I needed
you had
the
to soften him up.
foundation. I needed the foundation to be from the Bronx, but I need to be a little softer for someone like me. I needed someone, who could let me be me.
A little soft.
Who could let me be Bronx?
Now, is Michael a typical Italian guy?
No,
You would say?
I mean,
No, I mean,
No,
I don't
no,
think he is. He's a
no.
very educated, smart man.
and
Very
which
elegant,
Italians can be
very
educated
elegant,
and smart.
Very elegant.
But he'll carry my bags for me, which is something you won't do for your wife.
No,
Right?
wait,
we've had
wait.
this.
Let's be clear now. I'll carry her luggage.
Right.
When I say bag, I won't carry her purse.
Right.
I just can't do it.
No. Okay.
I'm insecure.
Shopping bags you won't carry?
Shopping bag,
Okay.
I'll help her with.
All right.
It's the purse. I can't carry your purse and put it on
Okay.
my shoulder. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
Do we think that's a Bronx Italian thing? Or a New York Italian thing? Or just an Italian thing?
I don't know. I think it might be an Italian thing. I just can't do it. Like we're in the store, she's shopping. She goes, hold my purse. I go, honey.
Wait.
She still tries to make me hold it.
I know.
And I go, no.
John, would you hold a purse?
I hold my wife's purse. It's 2023.
Right.
You hold your wife's purse?
And he's also 30. And what
Well, he's
nationality?
a young guy. He's a young guy.
What are you, John?
I'm a bunch of things: Irish, Italian, German, Norwegian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see, these guys,
yeah.
they don't.
I'm a mutt. I'm a mutt.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Italian guys from the neighborhood,
No, they're not going to hold a purse.
they're not going to hold a purse. I know some of my friends might, but I know I can't do it. I can't do it. I feel awkward. I don't know why.
A lot of your friends are from when you grew up.
All of them. Yeah, these guys right here, all of them. A bunch of them. We always have, there's about 20, actually, that's just a few of them. 25 of them we have.
An annual thing,
Actually,
right?
there's 23 now. 2 passed away. My best friend, that's Phil Folia. My best friend is like my brother.
And how we met, Phil.
That's right. And the way I met her was Phil, who was a huge Italian American. When I say that, he did many things for Italian American rights. In fact, he won a case at CUNY, CCNY, of discrimination against Italian Americans. People don't know that. The biggest reward, the biggest claim in state's history, $32 million. That was Phil. And he said, hey, there's this Italian comic you have to see. I said, oh, it's a woman. He goes, yeah, she's really funny. And he told me, he goes, you got to go see her. I said, what's her name? He says, Tara Cannistraci.
Very good.
And I said, okay. He goes, we got to help her out. This is years ago. I went to go see her, and she was funny. And then I saw her, then we hired her again 2 years later, for our charity, and she just she opened up, she was first before Chris DiStefano and blew the house apart. I mean, literally. It was incredible. And, we've been friends ever since.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever get a chance to see her in person, you must go see her.
Must see me.
Very funny.
Thank
And we'll talk about some of the
yeah.
dates you're going to be
Yeah,
at,
yeah,
right?
absolutely, yeah.
At the end of the episode,
Mm-hmm.
we'll talk about where you're going to be. But if someone wants to see you on Instagram, you have
Tara Jokes, yeah.
Tara Jokes. They could also see you when you...
It's way easier to spell than Cannistraci.
Yeah, they could also see you when we do a
Neighborhood Logic R-rated, which
Neighborhood Logic R-rated when we do that show. You're a co-host.
I'm loving that.
You'll love. Oh,
I
it's
think
fun.
they're loving it, which is it's so nice to get that level of feedback. You don't always get positive feedback.
Right.
And
But I notice you're very touchy about the Bronx.
I am
Like
very
if somebody
touchy about the
says
Bronx.
like a negative thing, like I am too, but I don't think I'm as touchy as you are.
I am very sensitive to it. It's so funny that you say that because I was listening. We talk a lot, me and you, about like censoring of comedy and how I can't stand it and how
Right.
you're ruining an art form, and I stand by that 100%. But the other day I was listening to a morning radio show with comics,
Right.
and they had a comic on. It wasn't a joke. I actually spiraled from it. So there was a female comic on, and she was interviewing an MMA fighter. Neither one of them from the Bronx. Right. I think he might have been from New York, really far out in Long Island.
Right.
She's originally from Illinois. She lives in LA. And she asked him a question, and this was the question. She said, would you fight anybody? And do you fight anybody? He's like, not somebody with a weapon or anything. She goes, but what if a guy came up to you with a gun in the Bronx? And I was like,
what does the Bronx have to do?
Where did the Bronx? If somebody comes up to you with a gun,
Yeah.
you're not from New York or anywhere near the Bronx.
Right.
He's not from the Bronx. Where did the Bronx fit into the scenario? Chazz, I found myself spiraling.
Right.
Spiraling like I get offended. Like I was getting offended and I'm like, oh my God, am I doing what other people are doing? Am I getting triggered by a comic? Like how, like,
Right.
So then a few seconds later, she must have got a cue in studio and she goes, as people are talking, she goes, oh, the only reason why I said the Bronx was because it just happened to somebody I know there. And I'm like, now it's even a bigger lie.
Now it's bullshit.
Now it's like you just got
Right.
corrected. So now I almost got my validation
Right.
and I'm spiraling even more. So I call Catherine.
Right.
I call Catherine Narducci and she's like talking me and she understands completely where I'm coming from. And she goes, what are you doing? What other people do? Where they get offended.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think so because people will get offended over anything.
Anything.
I do the stupid words and phrases and people will come at me like.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta ignore it. I don't even. Sometimes I just let the comments go.
I'm getting in a better place, or I'll say something like, "Oh, I don't know what would ever make you say something like that." I can't believe you get
But
triggered.
the
I'll
worst
pray
is-
for you. I'll say something really nice.
Don't answer
to them.
them.
No, I know, but when I say really nice things to them, it's also really offsets what
Yeah.
they're doing. Because I'll do a simple video and people will say like the harshest things. I'll do like Italian words and phrases. I'll be like, Mamarel, Gakidon.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're trash. You don't deserve to be Italian. Like they'll say crazy things to you on social media.
Right.
But anyway, I found myself spiraling over what this comic had said. And
Right.
I took a step back from myself. I said, was she telling a joke? What was she doing? Why are you being so triggered by it? And then I realized I think it's just the negative stigma
Yeah,
that the Bronx gets. And I think I'm over it. I'm tired of it.
If you think about it, the Bronx is a beautiful place.
Phil still lived there. You're talking about one of the most successful attorneys and activists for Italian Americans, and he was never leaving the
would
Bronx.
never leave the Bronx. He
And the
would never.
houses
God
where
bless
we
him.
grew up are beautiful. They were
Yeah.
$1 million homes in Pelham Parkway.
Pelham Parkway and Trog's Neck and Country
Yes.
Club. Look, and even let me tell you something. Father Gigante built the South Bronx. The South Bronx is great now. You got to see it.
Oh, I know. I'm going to a new Medi spot in Mott Haven.
Yeah, so
the Mott Haven section of the
there was that
Bronx.
movie Fort Apache, and that movie really said something like, it just said the Bronx is just burnt out thing, and it's not.
Or they just know Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, you
That,
got Yankee Stadium.
Or they only know certain areas.
the Bronx Zoo, one of the great zoos in the world. Thank you.
Where my wedding was, you were there.
That's right. Your wedding was at the Bronx Zoo. My God.
That's how Bronx
I gotta-
positive I am.
That's how Bronx is. I have to tell you, anybody out there thinking about getting married in the Bronx Zoo, when I first heard it, I went, really? They have weddings in the Bronx Zoo?
I know.
I said, wow, that's strange. It was one of the greatest weddings I ever went to.
Thank you.
It was great.
Thank you.
Really?
And that was something else I did. I tried to make all my vendors either Bronx born or Bronx resident. I really,
You did?
Well,
Well, the food was
right.
incredible.
Yeah. We had a lot of,
Yeah, we had a lot of
Italian.
food.
That was the Italian side of me.
Right.
But yeah, so and I think that's what I'm going to start doing. Instead of taking what that comic did and bashing them on social media and getting offended, I said, you know what? I'm going to start doing more positive things. I'm going to do what I can do. You can only do what you can do, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to start posting or featuring Bronx artists on my stories on Instagram, or if you have a new business in the Bronx, I want to know about it. What are you doing for the community? And I want to just start putting instead of getting offended and talking about
Do
it,
something positive.
I could do what this is.
Wow.
This is what I have, my little brand here, and I'm going to just do something with it.
And what is it? Is there a site to this, Bronx?
It's going to be all on my Instagram. And right now, I'm doing it all on my Instagram at Tara Jokes, where I
Tara
put people
Jokes.
up in my stories. I want to know it. I want to know about you if you're either originally from the Bronx or a Bronx, current Bronx resident.
So anybody from the Bronx, whether you're a comic, an actor, or you open up a new business, go to Tara Jokes.
I want to know about it.
And she wants to know about it, and she'll promote it.
Yeah.
I
So
think-
that's one way of attacking a situation where I got offended.
You got offended.
I got triggered.
Well, you got triggered.
That's the word. I got triggered.
Well, you know what's funny about Italians? especially Italian men, women too. Italians, people don't realize, Italians don't like to ask for help.
Oh,
They don't. Everybody, look, don't get me wrong. There are people who need help in this world. And a lot of people on welfare, and I understand that for whatever reason. But back when I grew up, there was welfare, but nobody went on it because it was a disgrace.
shame. Yeah.
There was shame. You went on welfare when I grew up? Forget about it.
I mean, I think I carry that with me. Even, you talk about it and you say Italian men, but I still have that in me.
Really?
And we're in an industry where you have to ask for help.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
Right.
Nobody reads your mind.
No, I know, but it's. I don't know if it's because you become too proud or because, just like you said, people look at it as a sign of weakness.
Too proud.
Or too proud. I will find myself in positions where, and I had to ask. During the pandemic, forget it. I didn't know how else I was going to work. I had to ask a veteran comic for help. I said, I need, can you help me? I need help.
Right.
But, if you needed help, Chazz, 2 seconds, I'd ask anybody for a friend.
Right.
I would champion or ask help for anybody else if it wasn't for me. But when it comes to me, I can't ask for things.
Oh, you have to get over that.
I know. And I had a conversation with our friend Joey Diaz about it. Because he said, he'll call me every week. Do you need anything? But but I would never call and ask for anything. And I was talking to him and his wife, Terry, and she goes, a closed mouth doesn't get fed, you gotta
ask.
You gotta ask for things.
There's a reason why those sayings, they're sayings.
Right.
The squeaky wheel always gets the grease.
Yeah.
You gotta open your mouth. But you know what it is? Once you do it a few times and you say to yourself, I know I feel funny doing this, but I'm going to do it. And once you do it and you break that barrier, it gets easier.
Right. I know. Even Catherine had said something to me. She said, don't take this the wrong way, but you sound a little ignorant. You sound very borough, very, like you have like this limited, not insulting the boroughs. No, don't anybody get triggered. But from where we come from,
right.
She goes, you have to evolve. She's like, you talk about evolving and having to, break away from certain things from your neighborhood. That's part of evolving. You have to learn how to ask for things. And
people out there, if you don't ask, you don't get. You got to ask. Now, there's a little to that. You got to ask in the right way.
Right. All in the delivery, right?
All in the delivery in the right manner.
And also, there's a certain level of entitlement that some people who don't deserve anything, they ask for everything.
Oh, I had a guy call my wife, because my wife is obviously in the business. She's a producer and a writer. And they said to, listen, could you ask your husband to bring me on as a guest on the podcast? And, tell him to I'm a young Italian guy, he could give me a break. So, but it was the way he said it.
I know.
And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. It was the way he said it, he better do it. And if he doesn't do it, he's not really what he says he is. I knew the connotation.
How much of that do you get? I mean, let's face it.
I do get it.
You have the biggest come-up story from, how you believed in your own project to how it happened, to you holding back on money because you wanted things done your way.
Yeah.
Your whole story is about
doing
loyalty.
It my way.
Yeah. So, how often do you get?
All the time.
I know.
They go, well, what happened to Chazz could happen to me. So could Chazz give me a break?
Right.
It's like, what? What? As opposed to, hey, just saying it a different way.
Did you feel that affected certain friendships as you became more you have all these guys, right?
Not my friends I grew up with.
Not your friends you grew up with.
Not my friends that I grew up with.
But when did it affect your friendships?
The friends that I met
in LA?
In LA.
Yeah.
The friends that I met in LA who were in the business, all of a sudden I got I blew up really big. And I never forgot what one guy said to me. And I love the guy. He's a very talented guy too, extremely talented. And he does very well. He did very well. God bless him. And he said to me, I said, well, you always said we always wished each other success, right? You said to me, I wish you success, right? And he said,
not more than me.
No, he said, yeah, but not that much. He actually said that. He said, yeah, but not that much.
Oof.
And I didn't know how to answer him because he said it
Matter of fact.
as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
like. And I was like, wow, geez, not that much. Well, how much did you?
And did you part ways with friends
Yes.
through that?
And then we made friends years later. But we went back as friends again later. After he became successful.
Some of the hardest some of the hardest breakups in my life were with never a guy. Were friends. Friends,
Yeah.
I guess, because you feel so fiercely loyal. You come from that. Friends for a long time.
Yeah.
Or
See, the problem with us is, especially Italians, we're really loyal
to a fault.
to a fault.
To a fault.
But we expect someone to be the same amount as loyalty. And when we don't get it, we get like, wow, that was weird.
You always say
Yeah.
how tough I am, but I take more
You
from
know?
my friends than I ever would admit. I have taken like
Yeah.
things that have been like toxic or just not good
Yeah.
because I have that like, oh, but you know this person for so long, or
Right.
and then I had to say to myself, like, at what point do you have to accept that you've evolved? You guys have gone your separate ways, like you would in any relationship, and if somebody's not serving you, when I say serving, I mean like being good for your soul, being good for your energy. Like as I get older, my time is my biggest commodity.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend time with people that don't make me feel good about myself, or
Right.
that don't really bring any value to my life anymore. I'm at a point where I got married. I'm going traveling more with comedy, and so when I have time, it has to really be with certain
Quality
people,
time, yeah.
quality people,
Quality people.
quality alone time, and when I have time with other people,
Yeah.
it has to be.
And I'm sure
good
you had
people.
someone that we all tried that you wanted to really help them in their life. And no matter what you said, they just were down. And that's horrible.
It's hard. It's hard when it's so clear to you.
That
You
there's
know, that
nothing
somebody
you can
has
do.
a pattern or has something and you've tried every which way to help. People don't want to help themselves.
Forget it then.
You can't help them.
And I always said this. You heard me say this many times on my podcast. And the opposite is not true. There's nothing you could bring them up, but they could bring you down.
It's that.
The negative force is so strong on earth that they could bring you down. And that's the worst thing. That's when you got to just part ways.
I've done it. And I've done it more recently. I've done it as I got older because
Yeah.
I'm like, you just start to look at things differently.
Well, you have a husband, you have a career. Now you're going to spend a day off with a person who brings you down?
No.
I can't. I
No.
can't do it. I
Unless
can't. I
somebody's
can't do
going
it.
through it. Doesn't mean if you're going through a hard time. My friends who are wonderful friends to me, they go through a hard time. I feel like I'm going through it. I'm in
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna be there for it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
right.
spend all my time trying to help you or whatever.
Right.
Fine, that's a separate situation. But when it's
Yes.
somebody who's doing it all the time, where they're not happy for
The
you and
same
things
thing
go well
over
for you,
and over again.
I can't anymore.
I
My
can't do it.
tolerance for it has
Yeah.
just. I
It's
don't know.
gone.
It's gone.
I mean, sometimes your friends, you have to leave them, don't you think?
I did. I broke up with a friend,
A girl, guy?
girlfriend.
Was she in the business?
So she used to want to be in the business,
Right.
and then her life went in a completely different direction.
You think
A
she
good
felt
one.
threatened by your success?
I don't know what it was. I think she thought I valued it more than I did other things in my life, which wasn't the case. Listen, when you take on anything, I'm not just saying an actor or a comedian. I mean, it does very often happen with creative positions because we can't just go get a degree. You can't just say, I'm going to go to this 4-year college to become an actor, and now I'm a successful
Right,
actor.
no.
Other jobs, you want them, you get the degree.
You're a lawyer, become a lawyer.
Right. You get the training,
Right.
you want to do construction, you go to the
Yeah,
apprenticeship.
right.
That's not how it happens in comedy and acting.
No.
It is years of rejection. It is honing your craft.
Mm-hmm.
It is so sometimes the tunnel vision has to be so. Like there were times in my life where I couldn't go out or I couldn't do things or I
Yeah.
only had to spend my time. I had to limit my time at a certain point. If I was going to get better, like when you said from when you first saw me,
Yeah.
if I can tell you the amount of times in 2 years I took a night off in comedy to get that much better.
Yeah. I mean, your friends will say, now that you're famous, you don't call me no more. And it's like, I didn't call you when I wasn't
Right,
famous that
right,
much.
right.
So, but now it's a
Now it's a bigger
means
deal.
something. You see, now it's a big, deal.
Now it's a bigger deal. Like I was always, when I was doing bar shows and getting paid in pizza, you didn't care how many nights I was working
Right.
but now that I'm, doing better, it's like all of a sudden you're watching who I go out with and when I spend time
Right,
with
yeah.
them and, or asking me like, oh, why didn't you tell me you were here? I'm like, you don't make plans. You can't make, you cancel plans we plan 2 months in advance.
No.
You wanted to tell
Right.
me when you tell you on the fly that somebody called me to grab a drink and I didn't call
Yeah.
you and invite you. Like,
You know what?
what?
I say, Tara, be positive in your life. And if you're positive and you wish everybody success, good things will happen to you.
It's a formula for success.
It's a formula life is not about, folks, life is not about 6 slices and Tara's got one of them and Chazz has got one. There's only 4 slices left.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about that. Life has 6 billion slices. There's enough for everybody.
100%. I'll never forget a comic once. Her name was Miss Pat. I opened for her one weekend and she asked me to go for breakfast with her the next day. And she was getting her own show, she got her own sitcom and everything was happening for her at once. And we go sit down for breakfast and she starts talking to me. And then she goes, have you done this yet? Have you done this yet? And I said, no. She just started calling people and recommending me for things. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Like I was like, wow, thank you so much. And she goes, I don't, of course. She goes, somebody help me.
Everybody gets help.
She goes, people think you can't, she goes, you're not going to take away from me because I'm getting you a job. She goes, there's enough for everybody to eat.
Yes.
And I was like, I wish everybody, she goes, I'm not doing this for everybody. She goes, I saw something in you. I
Exactly.
liked you. I know it's a good recommendation for me. These people, I know they're looking for a certain thing. I'm going to recommend you because I think you're a good fit. Why wouldn't I do that?
Because some people are insecure.
And that's what I think it comes down to. Even in friendships, there are certain
Even in
things you
friendships,
cannot massage enough. You cannot
Yes.
make somebody feel good about themselves
how many times?
enough.
After a while, you just go, I give up. I give up. I can't do it anymore. And you have to walk away.
And it's those extremes, like the ones that you said where the Italian kid was like, oh, you should help me. Why? Why should you?
Because you're Italian?
Where does that entitlement come from?
I mean, if you're talented and you're Italian, that makes it better.
Yeah.
But if you're
No.
if you're Italian and you're not talented, I could be your friend, but I can't recommend you.
Right.
I can't. Oh, you know how many times I get, oh, look what De Niro did for you. Why don't you do it for me?
I would never.
Imagine saying that?
No. I would never.
Saying that to me. Oh, yeah. More than one, many times.
And listen, I just ranted about how I wanted to do Bronx positive thing. Of course, I think so many people are proud to do for their own, like, you
Right.
know, like everybody, and that's the thing right now, right? Because everything's about ethnicity and this and that.
Right.
Yes, it serves, I want to be with, bring up Italian or Bronx positive. I want to help people
Yeah.
of course I want that. But just because you're that is
No.
never going to be enough. There has to be talent, there has to be character, there has to be a level of humbleness to you.
I cast somebody a couple of times in a movie that wasn't Italian. I cast this other person who was not Italian. One was a girl and one was a guy, 2 different. The people didn't want to talk to me no more because I didn't cast them. They weren't as good as that person, but they were Italian. Oh, you don't want to help another Italian? How do you say that to me? Come on. How do you, in good conscience, say that to me?
Meanwhile, in A Bronx Tale, some of them weren't even originally actors. Those were
Most of them are not actors. Well, everybody in Bronx Zoo is not an actor except me, De Niro, and Joe Pesci. That's it. Everybody else was from the street.
That's what I think made it so authentic.
Yeah. Oh, that was Bob's idea. Bob just said he wanted it to be just people who talk. I mean, the only thing hard about that was you had to audition a lot of people to find the ones who were natural enough to do that.
Right.
To do that. That was hard.
But you used certain people like Mush.
Oh, that really was Eddie Mush. That was him.
Because you couldn't get anybody else.
Couldn't get anybody like him. No, he was Eddie Mush Montanaro. He was a classic. Yeah, that is Eddie Mush in the movie.
Coffee Cake.
And Coffee. No, that's not Coffee Cake.
No?
That was Dave Salerno who played Frankie Coffee Cake.
Oh, okay.
Frankie Coffee Cake was another guy named Frankie Stallone. That was his last name.
What about Catherine?
When Catherine came to audition, she brought her son, and she saw people auditioning for the mother, Bob's wife, and she asked if she could audition, and that's how she got the part. She must have beat about 2,000 people. She was great. And look, and you know what? And Bob was right to cast her because look at her career she had.
Oh my God, she's not here now because she's with Bob.
She's with Bob right now.
She's playing his wife. He stole her.
She's playing his wife again.
She's playing
right
his
now,
wife right now in
Oh my
Wise
God,
Guys.
you're right.
So you were talking about stereotypes from the Bronx a little bit earlier. I went online and I found this funny list about, it says things people from the Bronx have to explain to out-of-towners. And I want to get your opinions on it.
Okay, let's hear this.
I picked out a few of the good ones. It's a list of 30, but I only picked out a few.
Go ahead.
The first one says there's only one rule in the Bronx. You never call it New York.
Well, when people ask me where I'm from, I say I'm from the Bronx.
I say from the Bronx, too.
I don't say I'm from New York.
That's exactly what it is. Yep.
I say Bronx. Yes.
And then the second thing, there's only one baseball team
Yes.
at the best stadium in the world.
Yankee Stadium.
Well, there we go.
Right.
The Bronx School of Hard Knocks can't be beat.
I agree with that.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
We get an education. People get an education on this podcast, which has it's literally something you can't teach. You can't get anywhere else unless.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the street, and that's where I got my education from the wise guys and from my dad. You know.
But they're real life lessons, though.
Those are real life lessons.
They're things that translate into everything we talk about today.
Yeah, simple things like my dad used to say. Well, actually, Sonny used to say, "Never answer the door after 1 o'clock in the morning. Never. It can only be bad news. Somebody's banging on your door at 1 o'clock. Shut up and be quiet."
Interesting.
That is interesting.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, never answered, and he's right. And it saved my life a couple of times. Somebody banging on my door when I had an apartment. I ran over to the door. I was going to open it, and I heard his voice, and I looked into people, and I saw the next door neighbor woman banging and screaming at my door, and she was fighting with her boyfriend, and the people were opening up, and they were screaming at each other, and I just was quiet. And then the guy who opened the door, he got into a fist fight with a guy, and I just was quiet. I went right back to bed. And I went, cool. Cool.
You know, I just learned something right now because there's this thing going around where they send a distressed woman to your house at like 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And she's banging on the door. You see a distressed woman, even if it's on like a Ring camera or something like that, you want to go answer it because you want to help a distressed woman.
Just call the police.
You should just call the police because a lot of the times what they're doing now is she's a decoy.
Yes.
So when you open the door, they have guys hiding in the bushes that are going to ramsack your house.
That's why you don't open the door. It's never good news.
That's so crazy. Okay. Next one. People from the Bronx always say what's on their minds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always. People from the Bronx always say it. You know, I always say, like we were talking about it before, John and I. Like, you know, obviously John's, gets paid and I always pay him. He goes, I always feel funny asking. I go, John, you have to ask. I have no problem asking to get paid. I have no problem because most people are not. But usually people don't have to wait for me because I go, here, let me pay you, because I know.
Right.
But the way I do it is a real secret. If you want to ask somebody that you got to get paid, you don't have to say, look, I'd like the check, please, or
right.
You just say things like,
yeah, what are ways? Because
what are ways to ask for money?
Yes, what are ways? I don't.
Hey, you know what I say?
Big mouth. He says I should be a man. I'm such a big mouth.
Yeah.
This is a lesson I need. Yeah.
I really appreciate it. It was great. You want to settle up?
That's a good way to say it.
I like that.
Yeah.
All in the delivery.
You want to settle up?
Okay.
I said, why don't we settle up now? That's all. Just settle up. As opposed to, hey, why don't you give me a check now?
Can I get paid? Yeah. Oof.
I
just got the chill from it. No, it's
you just
weird.
say, hey, why don't we settle up everything?
I like that. I'm going to use that from now on.
You're going to use that.
Yeah.
Settle up. That's the way to do it.
All right, Chazz, we're going to settle up? Oh, no, sorry.
No. That's the way to do it because it's those sayings, when somebody said to me, goes, are you sure you want to do this? You don't know what's going to happen. I said, it goes back to Machiavelli. It's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
That's great to know.
Because
I love that. I don't remember you saying that, and I listen to all the podcasts.
Well, I don't think I've ever said it in a podcast. Well, I think I said it with Michael Francis. Me and Michael talked about it.
Yeah.
But because it's already done, you already did it, so you got your way. So it's, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Right.
Forgive me. As opposed to, hey, you think I could use? No.
Right.
You know, so
It's better to ask forgiveness than permission. I'm going to use
it's
that.
better to
yeah.
beg for forgiveness than
Beg
ask
for
for
forgiveness
permission.
than ask for permission.
I got two more things for
Let's
you.
hear
Both
it.
of them, I think, which you're going to agree with.
Go ahead.
The second to last one, it says, believe it or not, it's the friendliest borough. Obviously, this depends on who you run into, but overall, people in the Bronx are way less apprehensive than they are in other boroughs.
Well, I think I'm too immersed in the Bronx
Yeah,
to
me
know
too.
it's different.
I can't answer that. I don't
I'm
know.
too immersed because I know everybody. So
Yeah.
to me, it's the friendliest place on earth.
Me, they got my,
Yeah.
they got
They have
my
a mural of him.
They got my mural of me
I
on the
saw
whole
that.
building.
That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
They're pretty friendly to me.
They're pretty friendly to Chazz.
They're pretty friendly to me. But my wife says, I always go, oh, people are nice there. My wife always goes, yeah, but you don't count.
You can't.
She goes, everybody's nice to you.
Right.
So don't tell people everybody's nice because you don't count. That's what she says to me.
I mean,
I guess so.
it's a little true.
What
Yeah.
else,
And the
Joe?
last
Gotcha.
thing before, I think this is a good way to end the show. It says, in the end, it's not Staten Island.
Oh, gee.
Oh man,
I love
we're
Staten
gonna.
Island.
But people do make fun of it for being like this. They say the sixth.
Yeah, it says
Forgotten borough,
it
or-
says in this description that it's pretty much an inside joke between
Yeah.
the Bronx and Staten Island.
Oh, I love Staten Island. I did to St. George Theater in Staten Island. I had a great time.
They call
They're great
Staten
people.
Island Staten Italy.
Staten
I've
Italy?
heard that. I've heard that instead
Really?
of Staten Island, Staten Italy.
Well, I think most people from
Is that where
most
Chris
people
is
from
from?
Brooklyn go to Staten Island.
Yes, I think that's the natural progression. The same way people from the Bronx
Go to
go to
Westchester.
Westchester.
I guess so. So most people from the Brooklyn go to Staten Island. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
from two Bronxites,
Two
proud
Bronxites.
Italian
Proud Italian.
Bronxite.
So please tell us now, where are you going to be?
Where am I going to be? I'm going to Naples, Florida, Off the Hook Comedy Club, February 9th through the 12th.
A lot of Italians in Naples.
With I'll be there with Victor Potato. You've had Vic on the
Oh,
podcast
Vic!
before, yes.
Vic DiBattista is hysterical.
Yes.
He's great. Tell him
And,
about
and
that.
then the following, and then that we come home on the 13th. The 14th, we're doing Valentine's Day at Uncle Vinny's
Uncle Vinny's, okay.
in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, and then we go to Seneca, New York. We're going to Seneca Casino. I'm going to be with Vic there. Seneca Casino in Niagara, New
That's
York.
great.
And then I don't know. And then I'll give you guys March dates because I've been asked to go to Rhode Island so much. March 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the Comedy Connection. Me and Josh Wolf.
Wow.
I'm really excited
You
about
got to
that.
see this girl.
Really excited. Josh asked me to do it, and I'm just thrilled.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled.
And you've done things with Joey Diaz, of course.
Joey, I'm gonna be. Yeah, I just did Sony Hall with him.
Wow.
Yeah, so
So
that's a real treat.
so life
Being
has
in front of
been
an audience.
good for you.
You know what?
Wow.
I'm not gonna complain in 2023. I'm not gonna.
Well, you're
No, things are very
blowing
good.
Up. You're blowing
Things are
up,
very
and
good.
I think it's great. And if you get a chance to see her, first of all, go to Tara Jokes. Your schedule's on there.
Yes,
right? Wherever you are.
TaraJokes.com.
And you'll see
My Instagram.
Tara when she's with Catherine Narducci when we do Neighborhood Logic
R-rated. Send your questions in because I've been getting a lot of. You can DM me them. I have a whole bunch of DMs for the next time we do them. People have
Yes.
DM'd me questions, but if you want to email us, right? You Chazz.
Yeah, you go Chazz Palminteri Show at gmail.com. Any questions about Neighborhood Logic R-rated? But it
R-rated.
doesn't have to be
All
R-rated.
questions because you
Yeah,
do.
all questions.
Yeah, ask Chazz your questions.
Ask me your questions, but hey, you got Tara.
Thank
You're always
you for
great.
having me.
You're
Thank
always
you.
great. Folks, that's the end of the show. God bless you all. And don't forget, next Monday at 11 o'clock, new show. You want to see my one-man show, ChazzPalminteri.net. You can buy merchandise. If you want to talk to me on the phone, go to ChazzPalminteri.net and set up an appointment. God bless.